If you look closely, you'll notice that there are 8 pins in this tubular lock. This is even more difficult, of course, than the 7-pin, because now, if we pick it manually, we've got to pick this one 7 times in order to get into it. Kind of difficult, very, very time consuming. Again, unless you have a special tool, a tool designed to pick this type of lock. This is the TPXS-08, the 8-pin tubular lockpick, and it's slightly different than the 7-pin in that we have one additional feeler gauge. All the other features are identical. We have the same rubber handle. We have the washer to push all the feeler gauges down simultaneously. Great time saver. We have the collet and the nut to tighten up the collet. So in order to prepare this tool, we loosen up our collet. You place it against something flat, and then you use the washer to push all of your feeler gauges very gently flush with the front of the tube, just like that. At that point, put just a little bit of tension on your collet, and you're ready to use the tool. So let's go ahead and take this 8-pin tubular lock and clamp it up in a vise, and I'll show you how this tool works. Okay, we have our 8-pin practice lock clamped up. Here's what the key looks like. And by the way, the model number on this lock is the TULK8. You notice we got some very deep cuts on here, so it could be quite a challenge to pick it either manually or with the tool. So let's take the TPXS-08, and I've already pre-adjusted the fingers. They are all perfectly flush with the front of the tube. And again, the critical secret on this is do not over tighten your collet. Just a very slight turn, and that is all. Please don't try to clamp it down, because then your needles won't be able to move as these pins impression them. Insert it into the lock, lining up the roll pin with the index mark for the tensioner, and then push it all the way to the rear of the lock. These are the pins in the 8-pin locks are usually quite stiff, so you have to put quite a bit of tension on it, and then just begin rotating it back and forth, just like you're using a screwdriver. And as you do this, you'll hear some noises, a couple of clicks, and then you will feel it give. When it does that, rather than open the lock right away, go ahead and very gently extract the tool, and at that point we are going to put some torque on that nut. And the reason we do that is because you'll notice that now we have these pins at different depths, and we actually have a working key. I can insert it into the lock, and we can use it to open this lock however we want to. Now obviously this is too big for us to be carrying around in our pocket. We'd rather have a key, right? So what we do is inside of the kit there is a decoder. We use the decoder starting at position number 1, which is just clockwise of the tensioner of that roll pin. So right there is pin number 1. We take our gauge and we line it up. We find the proper depth. We make a note that pin number 1 is depth number, probably a number 3 or a 4. Write it down. Take all 8 of those to your locksmith, and he can cut you a brand new key. Much easier to carry in your pocket. So there you go, fellas. If you run across these type of locks, bicycle locks, cash registers, electrical circuit boxes, rather than spend a lot of time, you might want to consider getting yourself one of these tools, the TPXS-08, 8-pin tubular lockpick.